All right, Swarthos here. This is actually the second take, as we had a minor disruption. But I still have my big mug of coffee. Today, being the 31st of October, 2022, today is a special day for many people. It used to be for me. I used to really look forward to this day, but I don't now as a born-again Christian. I don't. It just doesn't set well with me. But that's not so much what this video is about today. Today started off just bad. It was a bad night last night, actually. A spring in my mattress broke, and I woke up and I got this pain in my side, and I'm like, man, something's digging into my side. I thought maybe a sheet or a blanket had, I kind of moved in the night or something and created a lump or something. So I reached down there, but expecting to find like a rolled up sheet or something that I was on. But that's not what I found. What I found was a bed spring pushing up through the mattress. Man, they are old. I mean, the mattress is close to 20 years old. I know you're supposed to replace them like every 5 or 7 years or something like that. So I had to deal with that. So I had to kind of position myself, because it seemed no matter where I would lay on that side of the mattress, something was poking up through. So I flipped the mattress. That's another thing I hadn't been doing, was regularly flipping the mattress. And so that's how the night went. And then got up this morning, I guess about 6:30. Dog wanted to go out for a ride. So I took him around in the Jeep. We went up and down through the neighborhood and came back home. And then I thought, well, I'll take him for a little. I live back off the street. I'm the third house back. We kind of have a long driveway that leads to the main street. And the first house is on the actual street. And I know that the people in the first house, I know them very well. They're good friends of mine. And they have a little yard in front. I'm actually in a condominium here. So that front yard space is technically a common area for the 3 houses that live here on this lot. But over the years, they've always done the yard work. They're paid for the yard work and the tree trimming. So we're like, yeah, we're not going to use it. It's all yours. Do whatever you want. No big deal. And I occasionally take my dog down there, and he'll pee on the bushes or he'll poop. And I bring my plastic gloves and baggie, and I pick it up every time. I never leave it there. And I've even been there when the owner of the house has been out there talking, and I had my dog there, and their dog also uses that, and it's no big deal, So anyways, I know that the people that live directly across the street from that house has had issues with the first house there. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's what makes this even more interesting. Now, I don't know if this was a black and white thing or not. I am white, as you can see, and the people that I had the minor confrontation with, she's a black woman. I've had issues myself with her in the past. Not really on a personal level, but just as a coexisting, oops, I keep hitting that spring, just as a coexisting in society type of level. What makes it even more unusual and interesting, of course, she might not have recognized me, is a couple of years ago, I helped jumpstart her car. I was leaving my house to go somewhere, and I noticed that she was trying to get her car started, you know. This is the person across the street, young black woman. And so I said, hey, I got a booster, you know, a battery booster, because I got like a lot of cars and I got my car batteries are always going dead. So I had that and I went home, got it, brought it over there, got her jump started, and that was it, you know. But if you ask me to pick her out on the street, I've never really looked at her or paid much attention to her. So I don't really know what she looks like, you know. Not in the sense that I can give you any good detail, because I hardly ever talk to her other than that one time. And then there was a time probably a year ago, I backed out of the driveway and I go onto the street and I'm going to drive down the street and there's a car coming at me. So we're going to cross like this. And so there's not much room in the street. So I pulled over to the right to give this car room to keep continuing on. And I stopped in front of the driveway of the house across the street. Well, the car that was coming towards me didn't have a turn signal on, and I didn't really recognize the car. I didn't know who it was, but it was the people that lived there. And so now I'm blocking them, you know, for them to go into their driveway. But I didn't realize that they didn't have a turn signal on. I thought it was just somebody coming straight through. I don't know who drives what cars around here. And so then instead of putting their signal on so I could see and then I would just continue on and move, they turn like they're going to come right into the front end of my car. So I had to throw it into reverse really quick and get out of there. So I'm like, wow, you know, kind of rude, and we're not really coexisting in society here, which is the theme. And so that was about a year ago. So I had that one encounter, but I never said anything. I never, you know, flipped them off or yelled out the window or shook my fist or shook my head even. I just kept going like, whatever, misunderstanding. They should use their turn signals. That's what helps everybody know where people are going and what your intentions are, right? I mean, we're driving these 4,000-pound hunks of steel. You kind of want to know what you intend to do with it. But anyway, so this morning, I take my dog down to the little front yard down there, and I'm just standing in there, and I see this woman that lives in one of the back houses come out with their two kids, and her car is parked in the street right in front of where I was in that front yard. And my dog he's up on the little wall. I had like a 2-foot wall, and he's like looking over the wall at these kids getting in the car. You know, I'm just kind of standing there holding my leash, and he's like looking over the wall like, you know, like a groundhog or something popping his head out of the hole. And they get in the car, and the car doesn't start. They're just sitting in there. And so I'm just kind of standing there, and my dog's just standing there looking. And then I hear this voice. It says, "Does that woman know you let your dog shit in her yard?" And at first, I thought it was coming from the car. So I'm looking at the car like, is it one of those kids saying that, you know? And then I hear it again. "Does that woman know you let your dog shit in her yard?" And I'm looking, I can't see anybody. I look at the house directly across the street, but, you know, it's all shut up. I can't see, you know, through the screen windows or anything. There's no lights on in the house. And this is like 6:30 in the morning. It's kind of dark. So I can't really see. So I'm looking around. So they yell again, "Don't be looking around. Does that woman know you let your dog shit in her yard?" I'm like, well, you know, so I thought, well, okay, I'm just going to show this person. I didn't say anything yet. I reach into my pocket and I pull out my little plastic baggie, you know, to show that, hey, you know, I'm a responsible person. If my dog does crap in the yard, I'm here to clean it up. And you would think they would just let it go at that, right? As I'm demonstrating, you know, that I'm going to clean it, they yell, "That doesn't matter." And that point is when I'm like, okay, this person really isn't concerned about dog crap in that yard. First of all, from my understanding, from what the people in the first house have told me, they don't get along with these people over there. They've had issues with them in the past. So which makes it kind of ironic that they would be defending this person's front yard. So I'm thinking, okay, now they're just going after me for whatever reason, right? You take your choice. So I says, "Oh, be quiet." And they continued. "Does she know?" I'm like, so finally I said, "Shut up." And then she said, "Don't you tell me to shut up." And I'm like, oh, gosh. And I turned around and I walked back into my house. And that's how my morning on October 31st, 2022 began. I got to have a sip of coffee here. Give me some energy. The point of my story is, well, like I said, first of all, that's a common area. If I want my dog to crap there, it's just as much my yard as it is the front houses, technically speaking, in the bylaws of the homeowners association that was written up when we all first bought the houses. It states that that is a common area. So if I want to go there and crap myself, I guess I could. But, Second of all, I was going to clean it. I demonstrated that. Third of all, why is this person getting in my business with my dog? Even after I showed them my willingness to comply to being a good neighbor. But no, they just wanted to keep getting me, just for the sake of laying into me. Yeah. And that's the point of my story, is that is what has become of society. Don't use turn signals. Hey, you're in my way. Get out of my way. All right. I don't care if you don't know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. You're in my way. Get out of my way. Right? Bam. That was them when they were driving. Now it's like, hey, I don't like what I see you doing over there. You stop it. I mean, it's just society is just turned into this ugly, hate-filled, confrontational, I don't know what word I was going to say. Maloo. I have to go look that up, but it sounded good. A maloo of hatred and confrontation. I've been in this neighborhood. I've owned this house since 1995. I bought it in June of 95. I've been here that long. I've seen people come and go. I mean, they're renting across the street, and that doesn't matter to me. If you're a renter or an owner, you still need to be congenial, to be friendly, especially when somebody doesn't do you any harm and doesn't, want to be part of your confrontation this morning. It's just, I don't know. It's tiresome. It's ruins your comfort and your enjoyment. But it also caused me to rethink what I was expecting to enjoy about today. As I mentioned, this being the 31st of October and used to be a meaningful day for me before I was saved. Now it shouldn't be. It absolutely should not be. And that's just a reminder of what this world really is and what being in love with this world gives you back. I can be the nicest guy. I can help jumpstart a person's car when they're in distress, right? I can yield my own right-of-way. I can yield my own right-of-way to somebody, give it to them, and they still run roughshod over me. That is what this world has become. It does not give you any breaks. It doesn't give you any room for error or any room for a misunderstanding. People see something they want it their way, and they're going to get it, whether it means running over you or even killing you. And you see that more and more. Now, what I saw was on a very small scale, what took place. That was a very small scale of what happens to people out there who get, you see these things where people are walking down the street and all of a sudden, pow, somebody walks up, punches them, and either knocks them out or kills them. You see people walking down the street and somebody walks by and stab right in the head. They get stabbed for no reason at all. So there's people out there that are looking for confrontation, looking for not even an excuse. I think this morning was more to the tune of this person is just filled with anger, filled with hate. And so if they can find something that allows them to vent the anger that's inside of them, then they will go off on it. So I don't think it was so much a black and white thing. However, I do believe that lends to it them being even more bold to go after someone. The fact that they saw a white man standing there doing something they thought was wrong. And so they're going to, vent on me, even though they were totally wrong and ignorant. They were quite ignorant of what was going on there. And again, gave no compassion or understanding to the fact that I'm entirely prepared and willing to clean up right there, with my hands, with a plastic glove and baggie. I even demonstrated that, but, they will not concede that. No, they want to nail me. And so on a worse scale than that, I think is what you're seeing in society, where people are filled with the same anger and hostility that this person across the street was. However, it doesn't take a perceived violation on the other person's part. It's just they're there right now, and that is where I can exercise the venting of my hostility and my violence. That is what's going on. It's obvious that's what's going on, because a lot of this stuff none of it makes any sense, hardly. So that is how my October 31st, 2022 began. But all in all, it has not been a good day for me in years past anyways. Even when I was a kid, I remember this day. Out trick-or-treating when I was in the 6th grade. Walking home with huge pillow sack full of candy, and kids rode up behind me as I was walking down the sidewalk. I didn't hear them coming on their bicycles, older high school kids. I was in the 6th grade, and wham, grabbed my bag of candy and rode off with one of them swinging it over his head saying, "I got me a big bag of candy." So I lost it that night, lost my candy. Can't think of anything else bad on that day. I do remember when I was Halloween, when I was, I think, 7. Me and my dad were going to go trick-or-treating. This was when we were living in Hawaii, and we were just starting to go out, and a downpour started. It just started raining, and I wanted to continue on, and I had a skeleton costume on. I wanted to go trick-or-treating, but Dad says, "Nah, let's go home. It's pouring down rain." But I remember that. And another, before I wrap this up, before I start talking about who knows what, I have to mention a memory I have from, I think it was when I was in the 4th or 5th grade. And a friend of mine who has passed away a couple years ago. His name was Lauren. And there was going to be a Halloween costume at school, a Halloween costume contest at school that day. And all these kids, show up, and they've got these elaborate costumes on, And Lauren, they didn't have a lot of money in his family. There's 6 or 7 kids, and maybe more. more kids. There's kids just spilling out of that house. He had just a heavy overcoat and a nylon, a woman's nylon stocking and some gloves. And he put the nylon stocking over his head and the gloves on. And so they had the kids parading around in a circle. And he's like all hunched over, just wearing a nylon stocking over his head. And it looked really, really intimidating, because the nylon stocking, And he didn't win the competition, but I think, he might have placed third or something. And I always thought that was so funny. He made do with what he had available, and he was a generous person. He'd give me his toys all the time, and that's too bad. He passed away a couple of years ago. So when Halloween rolls around, I think of him and think of another friend I had around this time of year, leading up to today. We would always walk up to there was a 7-Eleven about a mile from our house, and we would walk up there and buy those plastic vampire teeth and the fake blood. They sold it there at the 7-Eleven. We'd put the teeth in and put the blood on and walk home. It was a lot of fun during the month of October. But you see, that's the stuff that makes you get attached to the world, right? But the reality of the world is what I experienced this morning. That's what's in people's hearts, and it's ugly, and makes you pray and say, Maranatha, right? Please return, Lord Jesus. Please come, Lord Jesus, now. Put an end to this world and the way it is, and let it be under your rule. Amen. All right. That's it for today. I might tune in and do some more videos later. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you for watching. Swarthos out.